Okay, folks. All right, folks, this is a thank you to Damon Smith for graciously agreeing to redo his presentation on building a greenhouse in his area. I was unable to record it on Sunday, so now Damon is here to record it now, again, with an audience, and I'm gonna pass it off to Damon so that Damon becomes the host and can start. So let's see, make host. Okay. Mr. Smith, you are the host, okay?
Hey, let's see if I can get it right this time.
Okay.
Screen, okay. Wait a minute, share screen, it's broadcast. Just coming, here we go. Get out of presentation. Okay, is it up?
It's up, we can see the first picture. Awesome, thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, my name is Damon Smith, and I'm located in Aberdeen, Maryland, which is about 40 minutes north of Baltimore and about 20 minutes south from the Delaware line. So I'm in about zone 7. So anyway, I have about a 2.5 acre lot, and where you see the little machine there and the little fire pit there is where the greenhouse was scheduled to be built. And I couldn't really see the vision of this, but the excavator is really good, and he took it, he found the best spot to do it. So here, there's another slide after this, but this one should have came second. But I quit counting after 10 loads of, they call it compactable soil. I thought that, you just scrape up the soil, just move it away, a little bit of topsoil, and then you just plot it down. But that wasn't the case. But like I said, after 10 trucks of loads of dirt, I just gave up counting. But see, the top one, I thought it was just going to be that big, and that was going to be the end of it. But the bottom one is where the soil started to come in, and then he just started building it up from there. And where the landscape cough is, that's once it's all leveled out, and we put it gravel, pea gravel on it. I don't know how many loads of gravel, but he loaded it up for, loaded it up. But when they started to build the greenhouse, when all the parts started to come, they I had to wheel a lot of the gravel in by wheelbarrow, so that was a little bit more. But this is the first day that they came out. I would say this has started probably about a 2-year project. It started when we were during COVID, so it was a piece of, I got it through Griffin's greenhouse, and I talked to the guy, told him the measurements. The greenhouse is 20 by 40, so it was pretty big. I didn't realize how big that was, but it took about a year before everything started to come. So it was during the winter. Luckily, I had a 3-car garage, so I put a lot of the equipment inside the garage, put the cars outside. There was stuff scattered all over the place.
It's just built a hoop house.
So the guys came, and they started the first day, so they started framing it out. And within a day, they had completed and put this up. Wood around the base, power treated wood. And if you can see on the second picture on the right, there's some landscaping cost, because I had to go through a whole winter with just the mound of dirt and everything. It was packed down, but we couldn't get in to build because it was so wet. And then I had to wait my turn for them to come and put it up. So I put landscaping cloth down there to keep the dirt from eroding. But now they climbed on that thing like Spider-Man. It was unbelievable to watch them put this thing up. They were walking all on it. And then the pieces, I can't remember exactly how many I had, pieces of polycarbonate, and they were pretty long. So when I ordered everything, I told them that they had to deliver everything, because I live on a lane, they would have to deliver everything in a box truck. Well, of course, the first time they sent the polycarbonate, they sent it on an 18-wheeler. And so the guy was, luckily, he was smart enough to know not to come down the lane. So he called me and he said he wouldn't be able to drive it down. So they took it back. then another guy came and we had just had a snowstorm. And I thought they had brought it back in a box truck. But anyway, the truck got stuck in the lane, at the base of the lane, coming into it. So my neighbors couldn't get out. People below couldn't get past. I think it went for a couple hours. We tried to dig it out, but we couldn't get it out. So I ended up getting what is it? A tow truck to pull this tractor trailer out. And he had to back out. Once they pulled it out, they had to back it out. So that was the start of all of that. So, and people just didn't want to come and deliver stuff. And then when they delivered, I had to unload it myself because, if you don't pay them, they won't help you or at all. And even though if you're going to tip them, they want a certain amount, and they say that at the very beginning. So I said, forget it. I just unloaded all the stuff myself. And all the heaters, the fans, the doors, all that stuff was in the garage. And so the first winter, the greenhouse didn't go up. So I had all the plants in the garage. So because we had windows in there, so it was cold enough. So I had a pretty good year of bloom that year. So after this is another shot of it where I had to roll gravel in and all the equipment. These two guys did all of this. I mean, they put in the fans, the heaters. I mean, I don't know how they did it. And so I have 80% shade cloth on it on the top picture. That is aluminum. And I think I really like it. It's really a nice shade cloth. But I thought that I wouldn't have to have any shade cloth on it during the winter months. But I learned that in the winter, I have to have shade cloth all the time because it's in the full sun. And in the winter, I put a 40% shade cloth on it. So that has helped a lot. So this is the first, they started digging. I have water, electric, and propane heat. So this is my excavator. He dug the trench, a separate trench for the gas, but the water and the electric were in the same trench, this long trench. But I think the electric was lower and the water was a little bit higher. I can't remember which way, but they couldn't be all together. So that all got done. And luckily we had a great day, no rain. Everything was done in the day. Everybody laid down what they needed. And so I was able to cover it back up and we didn't have any rain. So that was a good thing. Here's just another picture of on the inside. I had put a couple plants in there and, because I had to haul the gravel in and out to try to level it out and make it level before I laid down, I put landscaping cloth on top of the rocks. I had a few plants in the corner and I would move them to the center of the greenhouse because I didn't have any power yet. So the air would come through the door so I wouldn't have to, because they would have burned up in there. It was hot as hell. It was unbearable. So I finally got electric. The guys came, put it in, went pretty good. And then it's pretty bright at night. So, and then after I had to do grass seed and reseed the hill and all that stuff, so I wouldn't have a muddy mess. Then I was fortunate to have a good friend called Kevin Akins. He told me, I gave him measurements. He told me how much wood to buy. And he came and built my benches. I did absolutely nothing but gave him a place to stay and fed him. That's all I did. Because I couldn't even hand him nails or nothing. He didn't need any help. So he did a great job. They're beautiful benches. They work perfectly. So at first I didn't have any benches in the center of the greenhouse. I kind of liked it like that. I had my little chair in there, I could just sit and chill. And it was just like a big giant sunroom. It was fantastic. But I'm like, it's a greenhouse and I'll probably get enough plants to fill it up, which I did. So my godson, he's an engineer in college. So he came home and, he could look at what Kevin had done and he was able to do exactly the same thing. So now I have benches through the whole greenhouse. And now I have a lot more. I have a lot of house plants, tropical plants. I probably, plants that I bought in from outside, for the yard. But next year, as the greenhouse fills up and I get more seedlings growing and things, the philodendrons and stuff like that, and the poinsettias, I just won't keep them anymore. I take the poinsettias and keep them from Christmas, and I put them in the yard and just buy another one next year. But so I thought it was all done with the greenhouse. I was all happy, but the landscaping had to be done. So you can see my car in the top left is a little red one. I couldn't even get in the garage anymore. It looked like a gravel pit. It was stuff everywhere. So then that was the landscaping. And it took me about 3 or 4 landscaping companies. Only 2 came out. The others said they were going to come, and you just couldn't get anybody to do any work. So I found a guy, finally did a great job, and they started building. And here's some of the start and what they did on the walkway, where you see the lights going up the walkway. I was like, maybe I don't need a sidewalk. I can walk on the grass, just come down from the house. And I started thinking about, I said, you know what? I should just go ahead and do this and just do it right. So I just went on and they built the sidewalk, and I'll show you that one at the end. But here's some of the landscaping they fixed my garden up in the back. So I have a little vegetable garden. They're not raised beds, but they're framed in beds. And the cage looking thing, that's a blueberry cage. Because I feed the birds for my mom. And so since the birds are right there, they'll eat all the blueberries. So now it's all fenced in, so you can't get into the blueberry bed. So that's working out pretty good. And here's the walkway that they did it took me a minute to figure it out. I had no clue how they were going to do it, but it was amazing to watch them do this. I mean, it just came together in stages. And I couldn't even see this vision of how they did this. So, and the pea gravel was good because the weeping willow tree, if I had to do it again, I think I might have cut this tree down. It has just been a mess. It's a really messy tree. And I don't know if you guys get it out there in California, wherever you all are, they call them lantern beetles. There's some invasive beetle from from China, and they just suck the sap out of these trees. And they have this sticky honeydew that they squirt out, and it's like a black covering underneath the tree. It just stresses the tree out. And I don't know how long it's going to live or if it can make it. They said it will, but I'm not sure. So I should have cut it down, but it's too late now. And here's the finished product. The company of the pavers that I have is called EP Henry, and the company owner and the distributor in that area came out and they took drone pictures of my place, and they're supposed to put it in the catalog next year to give people a vision of what they can do other than patios, fire pits. And here's the last shot slide. So it turned out it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. I tried to keep a positive attitude. Thank God for a couple of good friends, Kevin and Mike, because I tried to keep a positive attitude. Oh, it's not that bad. Oh, it's coming. But after a while, I got pissed because nothing was happening. I had shit everywhere. So it was good to have them to lean on, because I thought I could handle this, but it got to be a bit at the end. But it came together. Once the landscapers came, I think maybe 4 or 5 weeks, maybe about a month, and it was completed.
It looks really good, though. I mean, good things take a long time. I know you went through a lot of waiting time for when they said they were going to arrive and do this and do that, but they finally got they did it right. That's for sure. How much is it? I'm curious. How much does a drone picture cost?
I don't know. I didn't pay for any of that because they wanted to see this, and they couldn't get a vision. They couldn't get a vision of what this guy was talking about a greenhouse. So they all came out, and
so the contractor set it up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's great.
And the like I said, the company that makes these, the EP Henry company, they came. They had their own truck, their drones, and they said that this is the only one that they bought the drones to, and they were excited to see this, because I guess people really don't even think of landscape in a greenhouse. And I'm like, I didn't want it just to sit out there and just look like because the neighborhood, a lot of my neighbors have pools and they're really done up well. And I'm like, I wanted the greenhouse to not just look like something just stuck out there. and just have some. So the landscaping I did myself. All the plants in there, you can't really see them, but they're a couple unique and different things, and so it's really sharp. It's really a nice look, and I'm pretty pleased with the turnout. But I'm not gonna, you think you got a greenhouse and everything's gonna be easy and you're gonna have all these fantastic plants and it's gonna just be beautiful. Well, that was not the case for me. I over potted, over watered, and over fertilized. I mean, all the things I had done before when I was moving them in and out, outside and in and out of the house. But there's exhaust fans, so it was air coming through. I don't know. I just messed it up. I lost, I know, probably 10 to 12 plants, and I probably about 30 on sphagnum moss and sand trying to reroot them. Because at first I was just going to say, oh, just throw them out and start again. But there were really some good ones, and I've had them for a long time. And I'm like, it takes a long time for them to grow. I said, let me at least make an effort, because I had the space. So it was a learning, I mean, I had never seen them rot like this before. So I had to clean them off, let them dry out, and I mean, scrape it off. And I mean, scrape to where it was just, there was no roots and just barely a ball at the bottom. So it took a while, Kevin helped me get through a lot of it, and Mike, because I had never experienced it. And I'd never really measured my fertilizer. I just always just threw some in a 5-gallon bucket and just went and watered. And you gotta follow the instructions and the measurements. So now everything seems to be coming back. I will not divide any plants after they bloom. I will not divide any plants until the fall, so that the plants can have a chance to rejuvenate, get new roots and all that. Because if I do it in the spring, right after they bloom, then I go right into the hot summer. And so I don't want to, this is the first full hot summer, so I don't want to, so I'm just going to let them rest. So I'm just going to, when it's hot, I'm going to let them dry, stay a little bit dry, but not too dry, but definitely not feed them. And they don't need a lot of water when it's really hot, because they're not growing. They're just kind of sitting there. So a lesson learned. I'm trying to think of anything. They're not difficult to grow. I've been showing since 2006 and in foliage class, because I couldn't get them to bloom on time because I didn't have a cold period to give them. But you can really grow nice plants and beautiful plants in the house. You just have to know how to move them in and out and how much sun to get them and when to bring them in. It's not, if you don't have a whole lot like I do, it's easy to work with, and they're pretty easy to grow. The variegated can be a little more challenging. Tiger, if you get those, they're very, very slow. The variegated ones are. The green ones will grow and they'll look nice, but the cold weather really triggers the tiger in the plant. So if you have a tiger and it doesn't show any signs of tiger, it has to go through the cold period. And so I think I hit everything, but if you guys have any questions, I'd be more than happy to share what I know, because I want everybody to be successful with, and just some of the small things you can, that people you think are not interesting, it can really help somebody else. So, my mishaps will hopefully help somebody else not go through the same thing. So, any questions? Conversation?
Damon, I figured out how to reclaim the host on my own, so I'm going to reclaim it.
Oh my goodness, you're a professional.
Yep, and then I'm going to stop.